Welcome back to Pig and Beef. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of an experiment. By now a lot of you have probably seen on the internet the method where you wrap your brisket with beef tallow. We've done this and found that it's a very successful way of smoking your brisket. It always comes out to be extremely juicy. So we wanted to try something a little bit different today. We've got a select grade brisket. This is about a 17-pound select grade brisket. Just to give you a little bit of context, most briskets you're gonna find in the grocery store are choice grade. You can get, you go to Costco, you're gonna usually find like a prime grade brisket. Obviously you can get Wagyu. There's a lot of different grades of brisket that have really high levels of marbling. Select grade is basically the bottom of the barrel. This is the lowest grade of brisket or of any cut of beef that you can really get. So what we wanted to do today is try this beef tallow method on a select grade brisket to see if this is something that really can come out still juicy, still tender, and still, just a really good brisket. When usually this is something that's just really going to be hard to make good. So we'll go ahead. What we've got here, like I said, this is about a 17-pound brisket. We're gonna just start out by giving this a trim. We'll trim it to about a 1/4 inch on the top with a fat cap here. Obviously we're gonna remove all of the hard fat that's not gonna render down. So we'll just go ahead and we'll start by trimming this up. Okay, we've got this all trimmed up now, down to a 1/4 inch of fat. Did get a little bit aggressive there, so I think it should be fine though. Next thing we're gonna do is we are going to inject this with beef tallow. Down here is the flat end of the brisket. You can see where the grain is running, so we're gonna go in the opposite direction when we're injecting this in. Want to get as much tallow in there as possible. Obviously this is the part of the brisket that is typically going to dry out more anyway, so we want to make sure that we, especially on a select grade brisket, we want to reinforce that with as much tallow as possible. Here's our beef tallow. We've melted it. We're going to be using Meat Church Holy Cow barbecue rub when we apply our rub today. So basically what we did here is we used a mortar and pestle to kind of grind it up really fine, just to help it dissolve when we mix it in with this beef tallow. So it's going to be in the injection as well. And you kind of want to let this cool just a little bit before you do inject it. Okay, now this is actually going to work as our binder as well. Got that all injected. You can see right when you inject it, it starts to kind of solidify a little bit, kind of turns into a little bit of a goop. But that's okay, it works perfect for a binder. So, like I said, we're going to use Meat Church's Holy Cow beef rub for this. And we're going to put quite a bit on here to help this get a good bark on there. Okay, we're cooking our brisket today on our Masterbuilt 560 gravity smoker. We're setting it to 250 degrees. We're using some royal oak lump charcoal with mesquite wood chunks. So when we get this on, I'm gonna put the point end of the brisket down here close to the hopper. That's gonna be the hottest part of the grill, so that's where we want it. I do have a drip pound under there. That's mostly just to keep things clean. Probably come out and spray this a little bit after a couple hours, basically just to keep it from drying out too much. So probably check on it in a couple hours here. Okay, we are 7 hours in. We've been checking on this periodically. I've been spraying it about once an hour with water just to keep the edges from drying out. You can see it's developed a really nice dark color. We're gonna pull this off and we're gonna wrap it up. And like we were saying earlier, what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this in butcher paper. We're going to use some beef tallow, and we're also gonna use a foil boat method to put underneath this, which is basically gonna help the brisket braise a little bit in its own juices as it continues to cook for, you know, probably another 3 or 4 hours. We brought the brisket inside. Got 2 sheets of pink butcher paper. We're gonna get this wrapped up. I've got some beef tallow. I'm gonna pour just a little bit over the top. And then more on the butcher paper. Okay, we've got this back wrapped up, back on the smoker. We're gonna put a meat probe in. We're gonna get it right in the thickest part of the flat right there. Probably got another 3 or 4 hours left before this is done. We're looking for probably around 200 degrees internal temperature. You're more gonna be going off of feel than internal temperature then, but when it gets around that point, that's where we're gonna start checking for the feel. Okay, we are 11 and a half hours in on this thing. We've been probing it for tenderness, and this thing is done. So I'm gonna pull it off, I'm gonna rest it in a cooler, and then we are gonna slice it up and see how this worked out. We've got our brisket out, it's rested, it's got a nice little jiggle to it. Really curious to see how this turned out. I mean, again, this is really kind of just the bottom of the barrel when you're looking at briskets in terms of just quality. So if this works out, I tell you what, I really feel like that beef tallow method is pretty foolproof. So let's go ahead and slice into this and see how it looks. It's pretty juicy. There we go. Look at this. Just pulls right apart. Man, it's super juicy. You would really not be able to tell that this is a select grade brisket. I mean, it's got a nice smoke ring. It's just very tender, great flavor, great smoke flavor.
I'm telling you, the beef tallow method is kind of like a cheat code for brisket. So if you haven't done this yet, definitely give it a try. I mean, this is just kind of the proof is in the pudding here. Again, this was really the lowest grade of brisket you could possibly get, and it still came out really juicy. So yeah. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments section. If you have any ideas or suggestions on things you'd like to see us cook or videos you'd like us to do.